Sponsored by LearnGD.com. Learn graphics and digital video design online.
Yeah, all right, I just turned 29, so my little brother passed away. Since my accident happened, it messed up my memory a little bit of the exact date and the year, but pretty much what I could remember, because he's my full brother, same mom, same dad. He was the youngest twin. It's my brother Joseph Anthony Barajas.
The way God works, that Friday, like I said, I was living with my dad. And I would always call my kids. But that Friday, I told my dad, you know what, lend me your card to call long distance. Let me call the kids, see what they're doing. And I called, nobody was home. Adrian and Christian were out at the mall, and Joseph was home alone, doing whatever. Not knowing, because nobody knows what was going to happen the next day. But it was like, God saying, okay, call, because this will be your last phone call. My dad called, he talked to him. I called and saying, it was like my last goodbye to my son. I was able to say, Mijo, I love you. And Dad, I love you too. And we hung up. So to me, I was happy because he left knowing that I loved him and my dad loved him. You know what I mean? I was able to talk to him and tell him that, not knowing what was going to happen the day after. So. When he had his accident, we were living here in LA. His mom was living in San Jose. And it happened on a Saturday, where I was coaching, because, I told you after I coached my kids, I still kept coaching to keep me going, just active, because what am I going to do now? And so I still kept coaching at the Y. And I never forget that Saturday, I got home, getting ready to eat, watch football, whatever. I got the call from San Jose. Adrian called me, his daddy's younger brother. Said, Dad, you better come down, blah, blah, blah. Something happened. I don't know what. So then one of the nurses called me. She didn't tell me exactly what happened. She goes, it's pretty bad. You need to come now. So I see the way I was in my shorts from the game. I see me went to LAX, got the first plane. Danny went with me, and somebody was there waiting for us at the airport, and went straight to the hospital. And it was just it was like something you see in a movie, where you never expect to see one of your own in that predicament, in that situation. The doors open from the elevator, and the whole school's sitting right there. They take you to the nurses come, they take you to the room, and even Rosa, she goes, before you walk in, you're not gonna recognize them. And Joseph, and God, something you don't wish any parent that want to go through that, because he had an aneurysm where se linchó. I mean, he swelled up, his brain swelled up, the head, the brain just swells up. Like they had to cut a piece of the skull out. They had to cover it with mesh, because his head was like the size of a basketball. I mean, he looked like his eyes looked like a little Asian guy, because the que se linchó, and it's, I mean, you didn't recognize him, you know what I mean? I mean, it's, God, it was ugly. It's like, he had a concussion, and he went back to play. The doctor gave him the okay, and it was like 1,001. In the back of it, there's a spot where he had the concussion. It's like 1,001 odds to get hit in the same spot again. You know what I mean? And sure enough, it was like the last play of the game, and I guess when he went down to tackle, he went head first, and it just hit him, even though he had the helmet, and it just that's after that. That was history. That was it. He just went into convulsions there on the field.
Because Daddy says that he was walking towards the sideline.
Yeah, he was working towards the sideline, and that's where he collapsed, and he just started, convulsions and everything. We put the plug on Tuesday, the 19th of October, 1999, because he was already gone. Half of his brain was gone already. If he continued, he was going to be a vegetable. So, the best thing was just to pull the plug in. So we talked about it, And we came to that decision.
His twin brother Christian, did he play on the same?
Yes. Oh yeah, he played on the same team. He was there. He was there when everything happened.
So he was on the field.
He was on the field. He was there. Adrian, he was on the band, so he was up in the bleachers, but he was there too. So yeah, they were both there. His two brothers were there. They saw exactly how everything went.
Like, do you guys ever talk about it when you guys get together? Is it
No.
something that...
No, that's something we don't talk about. We did at one point, but we made it a point not to talk about it. We just moved on. We just don't talk about it.
So this would be, this is his anniversary
Just passed, yeah. Yeah, just passed.
Do you have like a...
I always have a mass set for him on whatever day it is of the week. I have a mass set for him, and I let people know who I want to go find, but I'm there. It's just something that I always do since when he passed away, we did a memorial for him at St. Alfonso's, and God, you should have seen that church was packed with all his friends from Macy, from Montebello. I mean, that church was packed with kids. All this, God, I didn't know so many kids loved him. Aside from the family, the friends. Yeah, I mean, it was something nice. It was something you're never gonna forget. And it was just a memorial, and God, it was on the news up north. It even made the news over here in Channel 7. It made the news over here because I remember seeing it. It made the papers. I mean, oh yeah, it made it. God, we even got his mom. They got a letter from Tommy Lasorda, sent him a letter, and I know that I guess some of the players from the 49ers went to talk to the kids from the football team, and that was the same year Steve Young retired, and I have a newspaper clip that I could show you, where it has a picture of Steve Young and a picture of Joseph back to back next to each other from one of the newspapers up north. Steve Young reading that story of Joseph was one of the reasons that made him kind of convince him to retire. And I swear to God, I got the newspaper clip where it said it right there. Remember Steve Young from the 49ers? Yeah, that's when he retired, yeah. And it has a picture, he's right next to my son Joseph. Yeah, I made the news, and we donated all of his organs and stuff. They were donated to 4 different people, and so he's still living, in this world someplace,
And you got letters from them too?
No, I got a letter from the state. Okay. Yeah, the state the state of California sent me a letter, nice binder saying, where his parts were donated and who they went to, you know what I mean? And they went to 2 men, a young guy and a lady. His the liver, all the organs, yeah, so he's still living on someplace, so it makes you kind of feel good, he's still around, so. Joseph was always, back then, Joseph would always be a little bit more aggressive than Christian was when it came to playing sports. And then when this happened with Joseph, Christian fell right into his shoes. Because Joseph, I mean, he would play on defense, offense, special teams. What didn't he do? You know what I mean? He did it all, and that was just Joseph, you know what I mean? He was real, active, and Christian, I think he only played defense. But when he passed away, he just fell into his shoes, and, Christian that's Joseph right there. I would just say, man, he's taking over again. Just Joseph's back. Christian is doing what Joseph did. And so, but yet in the back of my mind, I was scared. And I always had that in the back of my mind. Oh, please God, please don't make Christian get hurt. Please don't. Especially when he was playing college ball at Chapman. I would try to go to a lot of his home games. And, you always have that fear. You don't want, oh, come on, It's just, as a parent, it's one of those things, Louis, Well, you can't help it, You love your kids, So.
And did you see a big change in Danny, after his brother passed away?
Louis, let me go back to that. I didn't really see much of that because all that happened when they were at their mom's house. We were already separated. When I would get them, I would only get Danny and Adrian, but when they were home, they would always be, together. Yeah, I had them, you know, not always. Yes, I did have them with me, all four, but not all the time like I wanted to, you know what I mean? I'll tell you one thing, and Joseph really respected my dad and looked up to my dad. When Joseph died, my dad took it hard. I'm never gonna forget it. We were out the house. I had all my kids. We lived upstairs. My dad was messed up from his knee. We couldn't really walk right. And we were making carne asada. And all of us went downstairs, you know, all right, let's start the barbecue and everything. Except one, that was Joseph. He stood up there with my dad, taking care of my dad, you know. And he not me, not nobody. Joseph got a chair, brought the chair down, yelling at his brothers, hey, come on, help me to bring Grandpa out here. You know, and my dad never forget that. He never forget what Joseph did. That, you know, he goes, él me quería mucho, you know. Él me cuidó ese día, you know. He brought me down the stairs, you know, brought the chair for me. Los otros cabrones les valió madres, nomás se fueron a comer, you know. But that was my dad, you know, that's how we spoke. And, you know, just funny. And yeah, so when Joseph passed away, the day when we pulled the plug, I couldn't find my dad. He was like on the 5th floor, sitting, you know, when you get out of the house, just sitting there crying and crying. I couldn't find my dad, you know, and he took it real hard. He took it hard when Joseph passed away, you know. My brother and my dad and my cousin, they drove up on Tuesday morning, so they were there in the morning with me. And so I'm glad they got there before we did whatever decision was made, you know, because I felt support now, you know, from my family. And yeah, so, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you, Louis. You know, me as a dad, I didn't even ask my kids how they felt about, you know. I knew their mom did, but me, I didn't. And I look back and I go, you know, and you know, you know what I mean? But I remember, I go, you know, I never went back to say, you know, how you guys doing? I mean, you know, not really talking about it into depth with the kids, you know what I mean? And I guess I was too busy about me, you know, how I was feeling, you know. I was just feeling sorry for you know, and so yeah, so, you know, I never really talked about it, you know.
Me and Adrian are 2 years apart from each other, and then me and Christian and Joseph are about 3 years apart from each other. Like I told you, I could find out and get down the exact date and stuff like that. I'm not trying to say that doesn't matter to me, but it's more like, you know, my brother passed away, and that's what got to me more than anything, whether it's this date or that date, because we were like real tight, especially the one that passed away out of my other 2 brothers. I mean, I love all of them, and I always looked out for them, but me and my brother Joseph always had a cool little clique. I remember him, I could see like, oh, I want to be like my big brother Danny when I grow up, you know? So it's one of those situations. He ended up being a full-blown football star, high school football star. My mom moved him up north to get him out of the LA life, because my mom seen what was going on with me and what was happening with me, so she had my brothers in a better environment. And while I was living with my dad here in LA, East LA, you know, going to school, doing whatever. Long story short, my brother ended up getting a concussion from the football thing, because he was only in 10th grade when he passed away, but he was a starting center linebacker. So he was pretty good, you know, tearing. Long story short, he had got injured, and I'm not gonna say that that's why he ended up dying, but he was just getting bad head injuries, and so he ended up passing away from a head aneurysm, I think, or brain aneurysm. You know, my mom had us sitting down and talk to us, and look, if your brother passes away, he has nothing but good organs. He was a healthy kid. How do you guys feel about donating his organs instead of just burying them in the ground, and he's gonna just turn to dust? And there's a lot of people that could benefit from your brother's left kidney, right lung, whatever the situation is. How do you guys feel about it? So we talked, and we all agreed, and we felt good about it. And so people in the world that were in need of the whole situation ended up writing thank you letters and all that. And pretty much my brother ended up donating all of his organs and stuff after he had already passed away. My mom has his remainings at her house and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he stays with me. Yeah, I think about him a lot. Yeah, I remember. I know my dad took it obviously bad too because I was his son. But yeah, I remember my mom was taking it real bad too. But to get back to what I had told you earlier about my grandpa when he had passed, I'm not saying I don't remember nothing, but I was going through some really deep depression and sorrow and hurting on my own because of the connection that I had with him all the years of my life. To get back now with my brother, I was going through the same thing, just tripping out on the whole situation. Like, why couldn't it be me? I remember telling my mom that, you know what, Mom, I would have wished, and I thought I would have died. I'm over here, my innocent little brother that's a good student, good grades, doing his damn thing, and I'm over here gangbanging and choosing the life that I'm choosing that comes with it. Like, you know, wow, how come an innocent little boy? So yeah, it was pretty gospel. The family took it pretty dramatic, and the one good thing that I could reminisce on and looking back to it is that the school he had went to, which was up north. It was like in San Jose, but like North San Jose where my mom ended up moving. It was called Almaden Valley, I think, where his school was at. And that whole community and the whole school and his jerseys up in their gym forever, and they pretty much showed that we just don't. It's not we don't give a. They were there and they held and did a good thing.
So when he passed, they did like a service for him, like to remember him.
Oh, they did a bunch of different things. Yeah, candle, the whole candle lighting and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I went up there with my mother, and besides all that, yeah, it wasn't just one friend that went to school with him. It was the whole community. It was the school. It was pretty much I tripped out on the whole thing. Not saying that I didn't want that. I'm thankful, especially for it now, because I'm looking back and remembering, and I'm like, damn, that was real good. Because my brother, I can remember when we were kids, growing up in Montebello, riding bikes. And since I was pretty much the oldest, and all the kids that grew up by my house is in Montebello, I was the leader of the pack, and I was the fastest and could do tricks and Mr. Cool. So they would follow me. And I remember, you know, taking our bike rides and doing like that. It wasn't bike rides on the beach or nothing like that. You know, it was Grand Ray Park, Montebello Park, Henry Acuna, all through Montebello, you know? So that's what I'm able to remember.